Hey everybody, I've got another knife review for you today. This one is the Spyderco Lionspy. Check it out. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at this knife. This is the Spyderco Lionspy. It's model C157GTIP. The knife comes in this Spyderco padded zipper pouch, which I thought was pretty cool. It doesn't come in a box. You can, put your knife in here, and it's really padded and be nicely protected in there. The Spyderco Lionspy was created as a collaboration between Lion Steel Knives and Spyderco. The knife is designed by Gianni Paoletta with Lion Steel, and it's modeled after their extremely popular one-piece knife, the folding knife, the SR1. Now the SR1 comes in both titanium and aluminum, and the titanium version retails for about $100 more than the Lionspy. So this knife is considered actually somewhat of a bargain compared to the Lion Steel Titanium SR1. The Lionspy has a G10 handle scale that is machined with these grooves, which provide a decent amount of traction, but it's still relatively smooth, which is good for the ergonomics and getting it in and out of your pocket. It's not going to be that abrasive, but it does provide some nice grip. And the other side is a titanium slab, which has the titanium frame lock, and this side is also machined with the same grooves and has kind of the same overall texture. It's a little smooth, but again the grooves provide a lot of good traction. There's a deep carry pocket clip, which can be switched over for left or right hand carry by removing this screw and just switching it over to the other side. The pocket clip has very good retention. It's very stiff, but it does stick up a little high for me. It seems like that could get caught on things. The knife also took a little bit of getting used to extract it from the pocket. You kind of have to grab it a certain way, which I'll demonstrate. Here it is in the pocket. You just want to take your fingers and your thumb and pinch right here. Pull the knife out. This knife rides really well in the pocket. The weight is about 6 ounces, I believe, which seems a little on the heavy side, but it really doesn't feel that heavy just by the way that it rides with the pocket clip, I believe. I'm not really bothered by the weight. The knife is basically perfectly centered. You can see that it just goes right down that nice center line between the G10 and the titanium. And it has a very thick slab of Elmax blade steel. So while we're talking about the blade, deployment is via this 14mm round Spyderco thumb hole. The knife opens very smooth. It was a little bit tight to begin with, and all I did was just loosen the pivot ever so slightly with the supplied tool, and didn't affect anything as far as centering or the lockup or blade play, but it did loosen it just enough to where now it really has a nice action. It's a very hydraulic feeling smoothness, sort of like the Sabenzas. And you can flick the knife out with the thumb hole. By the way, it has a really nice sound. I don't know if you can hear that well. So the blade on the Lionspy, again, is an Elmax stainless blade steel. The SR1s, both the titanium and aluminum version, come with a tool steel not a stainless steel. So those blades you would have to worry a little bit more about corrosion. You'd have to make sure you keep those well maintained with a little bit of oil. The stainless you don't have to worry about quite as much, and Elmax is a very high-end powder steel with really good chromium and vanadium and molybdenum content, which should give it really good edge retention as well as the corrosion resistance. Again, the blade stock is 4.5 millimeters thick, which is really thick. And the grind is a very high hollow grind with a secondary edge, which is a slight convex. Now the edge, is a little bit different with that slight convex, and it does get a little bit thicker towards the tip. So it does look a little bit uneven. I've touched this up a little bit on the sharp maker, and I gave it a little bit more of a polish. So hopefully you can kind of see that a little bit. Now the knife is made in Italy. It's manufactured in the Lion Steel manufacturing facility in Maniago, Italy. And about Lion Steel producing this knife or manufacturing this knife, I really don't see it being much different than the way that factories in Seki City, Japan, or Taiwan, or any other manufacturing facility that Spyderco uses. It's a partnership. The manufacturing facility has all the equipment and the experience to make this knife, and Spyderco does the final QC and the distribution of the knife, and kind of has a lot of input, obviously, since their name is on it. So I see it as a real collaboration. So I just wanted to show a little bit of the Lionspy in action, and I thought I would cut a little bit of paracord and maybe a little bit of this wood block here. So the paracord should be no problem at all. Okay, so push cuts of paracord, that's not going to be a problem. And all the way out to the tip. Do 2 strands. I mean, that's just not a challenge. Then I'll try cutting some of this wood for you. And it really bites into the wood. And I think it does a great job. So, I don't know. I'm not an expert at this, but hopefully this will give you some idea. I mean, I think it really bites into the wood nicely. And then finally, see if I can cut some of this phone book paper with the knife after I cut that. I mean, for such a thick blade, it slices really well, actually. I mean, it's not going to be the best slicer in the world. But it's not bad. Some features from Spyderco that I really like about the Lionspy are, again, the round opening hole. I prefer that to thumb studs. I think it gives you a really easy and secure way of opening the knife. It's fully ambidextrous, and I like that a lot. Also, the more flow-through design Honestly, I was never really a big fan of the SR1's one-piece design with the full titanium all the way. And personally, I just prefer this more. I like the look of it. I do like the little thumb ramp here. The ergonomics on the Lionspy are really awesome. I like it a lot. You can do reverse grip if you feel so inclined for whatever you might do there. The lock bar on the Lionspy has a hardened steel insert, which will add to the life of this knife because the hardened steel won't wear as quickly as if this was a full titanium lock bar, where it was titanium on steel with the surfaces here. Also, this could be loosened and adjusted if it ever did develop some kind of lock rock or anything. Some of the features that they carried over, for example, are this roto block right here, which is both a lock bar overextension stop, which will keep you from overextending the lock bar when you open the knife or when you disengage the lock. And also you can rotate this and it'll basically inhibit the lock bar from disengaging, which essentially would turn this into almost a fixed blade. Here's a little shot of the lockup. I like the way that the ramp on the blade tang is cut. It's very straight and slight with the angle, and the lock bar meets up nicely at about 40%. I'll bring out a couple of knives that I would compare this to. Here's the Zero Tolerance 0550. This knife seems to be almost exactly the same size. It has about the same weight, and it also has great ergonomics, G10 and titanium. So I think this is a very comparable knife. Now the Zero Tolerance is about $100 less expensive than the Lionspy. So if you could only choose one and price was the major factor and you like this design, the Zero Tolerance is a great option. Here's another Zero Tolerance knife. This is the 0560. The 560 recently came out and is a little bit closer in price to the Lionspy, but it's much larger, and it's much more aggressive in the jimping, the G10 texture, and everything is just more grippy and aggressive about this knife. The Lionspy is just a little bit of a classier design, I guess, and between the two, because I know I'll be asked, which one do I prefer? I prefer the Lionspy, to be honest with you. And finally, here's the Chris Reeve Large Sabenza. Now the large Sabenza is in a whole different class. I really wouldn't compare them. The Chris Reeve is just unbelievable tight tolerances and full titanium handle scales. Really simple design, super effective though. A lot lighter than the Lionspy. So let's just do a couple of quick macros so you can get a good look. There were some reports of a couple of knives with maybe some issues. And I've seen a lot of reports where people have received flawless Lionspys. My example, I would say, is pretty much flawless. Well, hopefully if you've enjoyed this review of the Spyderco Lionspy. Overall, my impressions of this knife, I really enjoy it. I really think it's a great knife from Spyderco, and I believe that it's worth the price of the knife. If you want a really high quality knife from Spyderco and you like the thumb hole opening and you like the differences between this and an SR1, I would say that you should definitely consider the Lionspy. It's a very smooth, elegant knife that I think has a really high quality manufacturing and very well made, excellent fit and finish. Thanks for watching my review of the Spyderco Lionspy, and I hope that you enjoyed it. Please feel free to leave a comment and let me know if you have any other questions, anything I didn't cover, or let me know what you think about this knife.